another episode of Straight Cheesin, and today it looks a little different with Walker not co-hosting today. Today we're going to be asking him some questions about theater and baseball and just kind of how he works with that.
That we are. And if you guys don't know what Straight Cheesin is, it is a podcast that we put together here in our class where we decided we were going to bring in some cool people around our community and just kind of ask them questions about what they do and why they're so awesome and how they do what they do. So, yeah.
So how long have you been doing theater?
I've been involved in theater probably for 13 years now, I would guess.
My gosh.
Yeah,
That's
so
a long time.
I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and at the age of 4, so I guess I'm 17 now, so I guess that's the right math, I started doing theater, and I was like in camps, and I was doing things over the summer and in my school.
So like, how does it look like being a 4-year-old and doing theater? Like, what can you do at that age?
So it's like a glorified youth camp in a way. So my parents would send me to like camps. It was like a local camp around where I lived, and we would go for a week, and we would do everything from like learning about film and set design and like very basic, obviously. Like we're like painting little like pieces of paper and putting them up behind as like a set and stuff. And then you like learn the show and you perform it. And we actually got to film like a movie, like version of it where they would just like film it, and then but like we would add some special effects. And like the two people that ran it were so sweet, and they were just like 30-year-old people that love theater. And so it was a really fun camp. I did that for a few years. It was called like the Red Door Playhouse or something. It was fun. And then at my old school there, it was very similar to Liberty. So it was like a private like Presbyterian school. Yeah. And they had a really small like theater fine arts. So I did choir and like a lot of things that you see at Liberty, like all like the lower school programs, like that sort of thing.
So like, what does it look like going into college and being into theater? Like, what does the applications look like, and like, where do you plan on going and stuff like that?
So application process has been the most difficult thing I've had to do. One of the most difficult things I've ever had to do. So you apply like academically to all these schools, and you need to apply to a bunch because like, sure, you can get in academically, but these theater programs don't accept you just off of that. You have to separately audition. So most of them take on average like 12 to 16 kids out of like hundreds of auditions. So it's so competitive. So from that, like I'm not really guaranteed to get in anywhere. So I need to apply to like, I applied to like 18 schools, which is so much more than like just a normal student would. And then on top of that, you send in what's called pre-screen videos. So you send in 2 songs and 2 monologues, like on like a website to these schools. It's like they set up like a profile and you submit to their profile, and then if they like you, they'll call you back and you'll get to like audition in person, like on campus or something.
So was that during the summer, so you'll know before you go like have to pick a school, or do you have to pick the school and then see whether you get into the program?
You pick a school. So like
so
example,
you're not guaranteed.
You're not guaranteed. So like example, I'm into OU, Oklahoma, for academics, but I'm still waiting to hear from their theater program. But like I got accepted into Baylor Theater like last week, and I've gotten a call back from like TCU and Alabama.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's like, it's a lot of like, you're like unsure. You like don't know where you're gonna go, and so it's really scary, and it's like a lot of extra work because you have to do this on top of school. Like, cause it's the application process kind of starts in August, and then it just kind of carries until like January, February.
Yeah, so it can be really stressful too.
It's horrible. It's so on top of shows at Liberty too. It's like it's crazy.
Yeah, so like along with that, like what does a typical day look like if you have a show? Like how late are you staying, and like how much do you have to prep for that kind of?
So it's kind of changed actually, because we changed directors. I don't know if you were here yet, but like my freshman year and then my sophomore year we got Miss Freeman, which has helped me so much. Thank you so much, Miss Freeman. Thank you. You've helped me so much. But so like my freshman year was my first ever musical ever, and it was The Wizard of Oz, and like the rehearsals weren't too bad. It was like 2 rehearsals a week, but from that, like our shows were like not as great as they could be. And so like example, Hello Dolly was our most recent show. We have Fiddler on the Roof coming up, but what you do is you have obviously the audition process, and then you go into those like 2 or 3 rehearsals like a week. So I have 3 rehearsals this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you're usually here from like when school gets out to 5:30 or 6:30, depending on if it's like dance or that. So and then they use cap period, which is like our period throughout the day. For extra things like that.
Yeah. So like if it's the week of the show, are y'all like rehearsing every single day, like the final?
Yeah. So that's called Tech Week. So what that means is like the show is there, but you're inputting all like the technical elements. So like costumes, makeup, lights, sound, everything is there. You got your orchestra there. That week is very awful. you do a sitz probe, which is where you sing like everything with the orchestra for the first time. I don't know where that word comes from, but you do it. And then you're usually here until like 9:30, 10:30 at night every night.
Yeah.
And then I sleep in because I'll take
Yeah.
the absence. I need it. It's so bad.
So like you've been doing theater for a while. Like how long have you been doing baseball? And like when did you kind of know that you wanted to do both of them?
So I grew up around like baseball and football. My dad played football in high school, and so I was always in sports.
Yeah.
I honestly couldn't put a name on or like a date on how long I've been playing. I'd say close to 13 or 14 years probably baseball. And flag football, I probably started at like 8 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my dad was always kind of like a coach, and so he would help me with that. And so for the longest time in my life, I was gonna do sports in college. That was like my dream. I wanted to go play at like the University of Georgia and play like football and baseball and do everything. And really, I'd say that changed for me. Like the priority changed probably last year, my junior year, really. Like I still could see myself playing baseball freshman, sophomore year. And I got my first taste of varsity baseball junior year, and I loved it. Like it's honestly, it was such a fun season last year. But it really shifted because I have such a passion for like entertaining people and like sharing like what I love with these other people, because I want them to experience that feeling that I feel when I'm performing and like telling a story. I think it's just so beautiful. And so it was a hard decision. Like I had many conversations with my parents about it, and like I've cried over it before about how like, you know, I've spent so much time and money in like private lessons for baseball. I mean, it's like you with volleyball. Like if you just decided like I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to pursue something else. It's difficult. But I love them both so much. So it's like I'm still going to try to find a way to keep baseball in my life somehow.
And along with that, like, how does that like work during the school year when you're having to do shows and baseball? Like, do you have to pick like one or the other, like daily, or what's it kind of like?
So it's changed again from like my freshman to sophomore year was a little different than my junior, senior year, because I wasn't as like big of roles. And I was also in like JV baseball, so it didn't matter as much if I missed. So those years it was just kind of like a text coach, like the schedule for the week Monday, and so he would know like what days he had me or what days I was at theater. Or it would be go to practice until 4:30 and go to rehearsal from 4:30 to 6:30 kind of thing. So it's kind of a lot, and with this cap period it's helped. So junior, senior year it started more like, okay, you're like varsity, you know, you're like starting, like we're going to need more communication. So what I did is I take both like a copy of paper schedules for rehearsals and for practices and games, and I combine them, and I go through with Coach Jordan and Miss Freeman like, okay, which ones are like essential that I'm at this game, or how can I miss this, or like we kind of work out like a master schedule, you could say, of like where I'm going to be when. And so that's kind of how it works.
Because it's like, I already know like it's really stressful for me to like be at volleyball all the time, so I can't even imagine how it is to like have a lot of theater and a lot of baseball. That's just stressful.
It's it's helped me with communication, and I like my communication skills. Like I'll shoot a Google chat nowadays, thank you, Miss Lytle, to Coach Jordan and be like, hey, like I'm going to be in theater now, or like, and he kind of knows since I'm a senior, I've been doing it for 3 years. Like he trusts me. He said like, if you're not in cap, like I trust that you're in theater, which is true. And I talked to Coach Neal, and Coach Neal was like he knew I was going to do theater in college, and he was like, well, if you need to be there for cap, just come work out in the morning. So I just work out in the mornings, like I lift and stuff. And they've all been really supportive, and I'm really like grateful for that, because if they weren't, it would be really hard.
Yeah, I'm sure. So how do you manage homework? Because it seems like you have so much going on. I just can't even.
You just lose sleep at this point. It's really, senior year is easier. Junior year was so rough. I mean,
I'm sure I'm in that stage right now.
The amount of times I stayed up, because I was in AP Physics last year, because my parents kind of didn't really like know I was gonna wake up. Even me, like I wasn't for sure I was not gonna do theater, so I kind of wanted to keep my options open, and I felt like AP Physics was like, if I enjoyed it, I did not enjoy it. I love you, Mr. Hartzler, but I did not enjoy that class. If I enjoyed it, like maybe I could stick with it, but so I would stay up countless nights. You just lose sleep, stay up to like 1 or 2 a.m. and then just be tired. It's kind of a never-ending cycle, and then you just kind of do things when you can, like cap period, or like last year we had like activity period. You would just do homework, so that kind of thing.
So like, what's your favorite show that you've done so far in like all your years of theater? Oh
my goodness. Wow, that's hard. So obviously I have a soft spot for Shrek, because I got to play my dream role. So this is actually kind of a little cool story.
What role were you?
I was Donkey.
Okay.
And so this is a cool like first full circle like story. So I went to New York for the first time when I was like 5 or 6, and the first ever Broadway musical I saw was Shrek the Musical. And I left that theater like wanting to play donkey so bad. And so I got the opportunity to do it last year, and I was actually blessed with like receiving a lot of like nominations for like high school awards like across the country, like not the country but the state.
Yeah.
And so I got the opportunity to like go perform at the music hall at Fair Park and all that stuff, and it was just a really cool experience, and I'm just so grateful that I got to do that. So that was
that's so
probably
cool.
why.
So like I know that in like volleyball and like baseball we have like first team all district. Do you guys kind of have that stuff in theater too, or what does it kind of look like?
Yeah, so there's a few different opportunities to like win awards or like that type of thing. So we have like our one act competition where you can go, like that's where we like perform like a show in 40 minutes, and it's like we compete against other schools and bring home like TAPS points or whatever. And so you can win like best actor or like all-star cast there. And then for speech you can win like first, second, or third in your category, because we also do speech competition, which is like you go and perform like a monologue or like a duet scene or something like that. And then like what I was just talking about is like musical awards, which is like all public schools and private schools that can pay for it are entered into it. And it's Broadway Dallas is one of the organizations which, if you go see like a show in Dallas, is the theater that puts them on, like the Broadway ones. Like they'll bring like Wicked to Dallas or like Hamilton or something. And then we do Schmidt and Jones Awards, which is like a smaller organization, and Casa Manana's Betty Buckley Awards, which is like a smaller theater in Fort Worth. And they send judges to watch your musicals, and they like grade each like actor and the overall show. So if you receive
one of those, it's kind of a big thing.
Yeah. So last year, Liberty's Shrek was actually blessed to be nominated for the most awards out of any high school in Texas.
Oh my gosh,
which
that's so cool.
Was like a really big moment for us, because we're obviously a smaller school.
Yeah.
So you go see like Geyer shows and they look so professional because they have like an actual theater, not like a cafe gymatorium thing that we have. And so it was just a really cool thing, and we are also like humbled to be able to receive those awards. And that's why, like, because Allie and I were the first ever like Liberty people to be nominated for Best Actor and Actress. For she played Fiona and I played Donkey, and so like we kind of set the standard, and we hope to like continue that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So kind of switching it back to baseball, how are you like looking for the season?
For this season, I will say we did lose a lot because you know, I mean, the senior class last year there was a few key players like Joaquin Ventries, and then we lost my best friend Tyler Rojas. He transferred, so it's hard.
Yeah.
We have some holes to fill, but I think, as far as, you know, last year we were district champs for like the first time in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think as far as team morale, I think everyone's excited to like go a step further than we did. You know, get past that first round in playoffs. So I think we'll have a good season, and I think we definitely have the talent and the coaches to do it. I just think we'll just have to work pretty hard for it this year.
And then do y'all have like any freshmen that are like coming up that are really good, or like sophomores or underclassmen kind of? You know,
underclassmen, last year we had huge freshmen, Brady Janisek and Cole Williams, which are now sophomores, that stepped up and played varsity all year. I don't know. I've heard rumors about one freshman, but I honestly don't know who all the freshmen are yet.
Yeah.
I'll know in January when we start, you know, our like full team practices, because a lot of guys are still in basketball and stuff. So.
Oh yeah. So when do y'all actually start the season? Like.
Our first game's like January. Like we have scrimmages like the 21st and the 22nd, and I think our first home game's like the 23rd or 4th.
Okay, so it's coming up.
Yeah, it goes quick. Like we get in, so what we do is called like evaluations. So we get to go to like Rockerby Ranch, which is kind of like Camp Copus, but for baseball. And we do like evaluations where you do like drills and scrimmages, and they'll like be like, okay, you're gonna be JV Gray, JV Navy varsity, and they kind of like the coaching staff kind of feels out like what type of talent they have that year, and then you know you come back and do like a week of practice, and you're already into home games and stuff, and then district starts like 3 weeks in after a few tournaments. So
yeah. And then also do y'all plan to like win district again, or just like
I'm thinking I hope. I mean,
so we're in 5A now, so
we
like
are
the
in
team's
5A.
different.
So Fort Worth Christian is now in our district. I don't know who they all are. I think All Saints, Midland, I think Nolan stayed in 6A, and I'm not sure who the rest of them are.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that's pretty much all we got. I think we want to do a little dink and dunk, as we always do. So we're going to get a little bit. We're going to dink.